right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Barbara, and I'm the registered acupuncturist here at Bosner. Um, I'm going to go over with you just a little bit on facial acupuncture and why I think it's a great beneficial treatment, especially in the springtime, which we're in March right now. So uh, just a quick background on me. I have been in practice for the past decade, and I'm a registered acupuncturist as well as an Ervigo abdominal therapist. I work with all types of health issues, including women's digestive health, reproductive health, as well as natural skincare, pain relief, and emotional health. But what I really love to work with is cosmetic acupuncture and non-invasive uh, facial rejuvenation, we can call it. So I've studied with a number of different practitioners and have added to my toolkit things such as manual lymphatic drainage, facial gua sha, and facial cupping, both of which are originally a part of Chinese medicine. So I wanted to talk to you about facial rejuvenation and facial acupuncture at this time of year because I find it is a time of year where our skin is often stressed. Um, the times of transition, such as springtime and fall, often can take a toll on our health, both physically and emotionally, and this can often show up on our skin. So what I mean by stressed out skin in March, April, skin that's been sort of suffering in the winter. So potentially dry air, cold air, changes in humidity can show up as dull, dehydrated skin, maybe even like patches of dryness. More likely to show up as fine lines for a lot of people. Can also show up as congested skin, especially if we have been maybe leading a bit more sedentary lifestyles for the past couple of months, staying indoors more. This can also be showing up as acne outbreaks, as if you're especially sensitive. I'm also seeing a lot more people coming in at this time of year with sort of sensitive or almost overly reactive skin. So again, potentially linked to the environment, the elements, cold air, dry air, and what I like to call puffiness. So this could be sort of like moisture retention in the skin or water retention in the skin. And this is something that in Chinese medicine is more of an internal factor. So there's the external environment and there's also the internal environment. So that's sort of what I'm interested in when I assess people's skin conditions and their concerns. So some of the stressors that are affecting skin at this time of year, more so perhaps than at other times, like I said, weather, humidity changes. And this can show up even, in the springtime, just when it's windy, and it might potentially even be showing up as tension. So a lot of people coming in now with headaches, neck pain, shoulder pain, even restricted circulation of the neck, of the shoulders, of the scalp, tightness in the jaw. This eventually can actually reflect on our face. It may not affect skin right away, but it can affect the tightness in your jaw and the tension. As well, I always sort of consider what else is going on. So toxins, whether it is from being outdoors in the city and the sort of air that is not the best at times, to indoor toxins. If we've been spending a lot of time indoors and just, our environment, a lot of the sort of off-gassing of our environment inside as well. If our internal environment, our bodies and our organ systems are strong, we can more easily detox the effects of this type of exposure. I often also discuss with clients gut health. And in gut health, you may not see the immediate connection to skin health, but Chinese medicine always looks at gut health really as a foundation for many, many different concerns. With gut health, we're looking at beyond just a good, clean diet, how well your body is taking in the nutrients that you're giving it. So how well it's using that nutrition, how effectively and efficiently it's being processed, and as well, how easily and how smoothly elimination is happening. A lot of the time, there is a definite link between not ideal elimination. So whether it's constipation or just loose type of IBS symptoms, it often eventually will reflect on how the skin looks. And linked to that somewhat are just dietary habits. So dietary habits sort of slash lifestyle habits, because diet can be also your intake of fluids. So how well you keep hydrated on a regular basis, the quality of the water you're drinking, the mineral content of the water you're drinking can also be a factor in skin health. And also, obviously, things such as sugar, alcohol, caffeine can all eventually show up in our bodies, but more importantly, on our skin. So, some of the things I talk about when clients come in for a facial rejuvenation session is also sort of lifestyle habits, how well we're sleeping, how you're dealing with stress, how resilient you are towards stress. These are all things that we look for in what I like to call the internal environment that can be also supported during a facial rejuvenation acupuncture session. Because the nice thing about facial acupuncture is that it's never just about facial acupuncture. We are always treating the whole person, and that makes it a very unique treatment when we're comparing it against something such as a purely aesthetic type of treatment. We're always going sort of the extra layer and then the extra layer so that it is a deeper level of change and potentially a longer lasting change. So based on that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how Chinese medicine actually sees the face. And this part I always find fascinating. I hope you will too. In Chinese medicine, a lot of the organ systems are similar to what we expect, similar to what we're familiar with in Western medicine. So, the liver is the liver, the heart is the heart, the kidneys are the kidneys, and so on and so on. We have the same functions for a lot of these organs. So, the liver, for instance, storing blood, cleaning blood, related to the digestive organs. But all of these organs or organ systems also have, in Chinese medicine, an energetic component to them, apart from the physiological. And then they also have what I like to think of as a sort of spiritual component to them, or almost like a philosophical component. I don't get into that very much in this type of treatment, and it's maybe a little bit beyond what we're talking about here, but it's actually quite interesting because it's never just about, it's never just about your face. It's always about what's happening inside as well. And in Chinese medicine, we also like to think of the face as the expression of the heart, really. The heart and the soul is expressed on the face and in the eyes. So beyond looking just at the skin and whether there are wrinkles, whether there's acne, we're always looking at the vitality of the face as well. So back to the map of the face. Here I've laid out one of the evaluation maps of how we diagnose. There's a system, there's actually quite a few systems, but this is one that's one of the more popular ones where we can actually diagnose and to some degree treat based on what is appearing where on the face and how it might relate to what else is happening in the body. I never use just this as a diagnostic measure because obviously we have to also ask other questions. There are probably other symptoms that will be a factor. So this is sort of one of the keys, or rather one of the things we look at, one of the clues. Just sort of to backtrack a little bit, when I talk about organ systems and something being out of balance or being not working efficiently, it doesn't actually mean that that organ is diseased or that there's something wrong. So when I say that there is something going on, where we have to pay attention to the liver or to the kidneys, it doesn't necessarily mean that those are like the way we would think, a medical condition in Western medicine. It means that we need to follow the clues to help rebalance that organ system, because we have to have a focus of treatment. So usually for many people, it's the liver, the spleen, or the gallbladder. These show up quite a bit, or sorry, the liver, spleen, and the kidney show up quite a bit in the face. So I will continue with the liver because it is my favorite. And the liver in Chinese medicine, on the energetic level, it is actually quite important for skin and for stress, because the liver is responsible for the smooth flow of everything. So this is the smooth flow of energy in the body, the smooth flow of blood as a result of that, even the smooth flow of lymph, which is like our body's cleaning fluid or sanitation system or immune boosting system. If the liver is flowing smoothly and it's a happy, healthy liver that is being treated well and we're expressing our emotions well, everything is smooth. If, and it's quite common, that the liver is not so happy because perhaps there is some sort of frustration. We're not able to express ourselves, or we think we can express ourselves. Potentially, there is some sort of physiological overuse of the liver, maybe too much sugar or too much alcohol, or just really too much stress, because stress also affects the liver. So overthinking, worrying, these are all things that really affect this organ. Then things start to slow down and get sluggish, and the flow is kind of, instead of a river, it's kind of more of a swamp. Eventually, this type of thing will show up in other systems because they're also not flowing well. But for liver, the signs we look for specifically are this area just between the eyebrows. And this I call, it's been called sort of the 11s, or it's the vertical wrinkles. These are a sign in Chinese medicine face mapping that the liver is not living its best life. And it needs some release and some support. And actually, we can backtrack this type of wrinkle slowly but surely with cosmetic acupuncture. So that's one that's actually quite common out in the world, out and about. Another one that I see quite a bit is in clinic is the chin, so the jawline, because the jawline is connected to our reproductive and hormonal, so our endocrine system is represented on the jawline, as well as in Chinese medicine that's linked to the kidney energy. This I'll see quite a bit in women at all stages of sort of their cycle. So it could be, on a monthly basis, they might be getting this area acne in teen years, in 20s, in the 30s. For some women who are in their 40s and 50s, who may not have had acne for, decades, suddenly are getting acne again in this area. And this is really a sign of hormonal shifting, hormonal fluctuation. And again, we would be working with the kidneys, working with all the organ systems really, but working with the kidneys specifically to help support what needs to be balanced. The last one I'm going to talk to you about in terms of this map, although there is a lot to go over, but the one I see a lot of is actually the spleen. The spleen in Chinese medicine is not really, it's not very important to us in Western medicine, but it is a big deal in Chinese medicine because the spleen is really sort of the core of our digestive energy. So we are always looking to support the spleen, build up the spleen, nurture, protect, make sure, that it is functional and has good energy, because essentially that is where we get the energy for the face. If the spleen is being sort of mistreated or not treated well by diet, by our diet rather, then it eventually will show up on the face. It just makes sense. The spleen shows up quite specifically in a few places. I have the tip of the nose on this map, but the one that I see more often actually is it's also on the upper eyelid. So swelling or like a swollen look that is on the upper eyelids, that is definitely related to the spleen. And the reason why it's the spleen is because it's also a factor in our water metabolism. So how well we are processing water, the upper eyelid is the spleen. The under eye area is the kidney, which is also part of water metabolism. It's a slightly different thing we look for. If it's under the eye and it's not something that you've had since childhood, because some people do have sort of a darker area under here. Then we're looking for, if it's puffiness and it's darker under the eye, then we're looking at clues as to, how can we help the kidneys work better? So that in a nutshell is facial mapping. And I do, as I said, rely on this to a degree, but we also have at the beginning of a session, the first session, we always have a very in-depth whole person consultation. So really what we're looking at is this is an aesthetic treatment for the face, but we're also looking at whole person health. So I'll be asking about digestion, about elimination, stress levels, sleep also shows up on your face. And these are all things that we can help sort of move into a better direction should they need be. So, how does acupuncture for the face work? And how does it work actually differently or perhaps even better than other approaches? Um, it is what I like to call, in a nice way, slow medicine, because it's important to realize it's not an instant fix, but it is a very deep level fix. So, and it's actually quite enjoyable and relaxing. So, one of the things that we're always trying to do is, as I said, balance out the body systems that need support and balancing, but on a more practical level, to also increase circulation. So, circulation to the face of fresh blood, oxygen, helping to move the lymphatic fluid to help encourage the body clean up its own toxins, as well as release tension in the face. So tension in the neck, in the shoulders, in the scalp. It's actually quite surprising how tight scalps can be sometimes. In the forehead, in the jaw, things that we might not even be aware of, or that we are aware of. These can all affect how our faces look and how our skin looks. So it is sort of a multi-level treatment. And I like to say it is always very relaxing. So most clients take a nap during the treatment at some point. So with this particular promotion that we have on at Bosner this spring, it's a little bit of an upgrade from what the usual acupuncture is, facial acupuncture is. We're doing a bit of a series because rather than having a treatment once in a while, which is also very nice, it's definitely a treat. Everything works better when it's considered as a program, a bit of a series. With acupuncture, as with most things, if you are looking for sort of more sustained results and more lasting results, we put the treatments sort of closer together. So this is an idea to have a treatment plan of about 5 or more sessions, fairly close together, and working on different levels. So the first appointment rather has the initial intake and your first treatment. We include the lymphatic drainage massage, which is of the décolletage, the neck, and the face and scalp. And then I put together a recipe for the body acupuncture based on what is going on with the person that day, and also based on what their history is. So what's been going on, for a while, plus what the goal is for skin treatment. Once we put the needles in, they are in usually for about 30 to 40 minutes. During that time, you can relax, don't have to do anything, don't have to do anything special like meditate or do any breath work, although some people do like to do that. It's totally up to you what you like to do. Afterwards, I do a brief application of a sheet mask, like a facial mask. And during that time, also very soothing and releasing of stress and tension scalp massage. The difference with this AccuGlow offer is that we are including a few special things that we have here at the Bosner clinic. And that is for each of these AccuGlow sessions, it'll be performed on a special mat, a treatment mat, which is the PMF mat. And that's the gemstone and mineral stone, deeply, deeply soothing, heating mat. So it's relaxing acupuncture plus this deeply, deeply soothing warmth from below. As well, you have the option to try either at the day of your treatment or other days. You can book in for the red light therapy, which is also very, very revitalizing to the skin. To use the infrared sauna, and a special gift for me, which is included with the program. So I just had some questions that were asked in advance of today, and I actually get these particular questions quite a bit. So I wanted just to cover, in case this is already on your mind. Can you receive cosmetic acupuncture or facial acupuncture during pregnancy? And I usually err on the side of caution with this one. So acupuncture is very safe during pregnancy if it's, performed by a qualified practitioner. I treat a lot of pregnant women. Cosmetic acupuncture, though, the energy is very much about, it's going up all to your face. So in a healthy pregnancy, for someone who is used to acupuncture, it's usually not a problem to get cosmetic acupuncture once or twice throughout the entire pregnancy. I generally do not suggest it as planning for a series during that time. It's, wait until postpartum. I also would not suggest it during the first trimester. That's usually not a time for cosmetic acupuncture. What we do, I usually like to have a little bit of a chat with anybody who has this particular question, because it very much depends on what your situation is and what your pregnancy is. So the second question is it like getting Botox? No, it's not. It's very different than Botox. It works it can work alongside Botox. I do need to know if somebody has Botox before we do facial acupuncture, because there are certain things I have to sort of modify. These are acupuncture needles. They have nothing on them. We're not injecting you with anything. They are very, very fine, tiny needles. So they're like acupuncture needles, in case you're not familiar, are like a cat's whisker. The ones we use for the face are even finer than that. They're really tiny. The idea is to wake up and encourage and boost your own innate healing resources. So we're not putting anything in, we're using what you already have, and we are helping boost up that energy. Acupuncture is also very much about moving. So Botox is, the opposite. It's about not moving, but it's a different approach. It can be used together. So, if it's something that is, if you're curious about it alongside Botox or alongside other fillers, again, I'd like to have a conversation sort of to get more specific about how we would approach it. But it is safe. Okay, and then how many treatments will I need to see to get results, which is an important question, because, I want to make sure that people's expectations match what's happening. With facial acupuncture, it depends on a lot of different factors. The number of visits, definitely, how close the visits are to each other. Usually once a week is sort of the general guideline. But it also depends on a person's age to some degree, and the state of your health and the state of your skin to begin with. So I find, very generally speaking, people that are in their, say, 20s into their 30s, even early 40s, usually will see results faster, especially because, that is sort of a younger age range. But it also depends on what your health is. So, if there is some other condition that is happening, it may take a little bit longer. If someone has like a autoimmune disease or other health concerns, we always have to look at those things as well, because, it depends how quickly the body heals, what else is going on, how damaged the skin is. If someone is, has sun damage, for instance, it will take longer. If someone is a smoker, it will take longer. In fact, you may not want to be doing this if you're smoking, because it may actually, it doesn't really, effects are much, much slower. So again, it's possible to do during, if you're a smoker, but it may not be as quick as it would be for someone else. Other things to consider are also, apart from age, would be diet, hydration, sleep. All of these things we can also address definitely in the body treatments for acupuncture. But they're all the things that I kind of, when someone asks me how many treatments, we have to put everything out there. I've treated patients in their 50s and their 60s into their 70s who have seen results and have been happy with their skin, and all of the sort of what I like to call side effects of the good side effects of facial acupuncture, which could be just feeling more peaceful, feeling calmer, having a better resilience against stress, better digestion potentially, if that's something that needs to be addressed. So, keeping all those things in perspective, usually I say between 5 treatments up to 10 to 12 for someone who's sort of maybe in the more, more damaged skin or more wrinkled skin or just skin that needs more care. And then once that is done, a series, usually the treatment results last for a year potentially. If you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your health and your skin, I often would suggest getting a bit of a tune-up, maybe seasonally. Some people like to come in for a tune-up, every couple of months. But that is, yeah. So that is what usually can be expected. And great. So I think that I will leave you with that information and here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. That was awesome. I learned a lot, and I'm going to be discussing this with you privately later. Thank you so much, and I hope this information was really helpful for everyone, and you all have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much.
Good
Bye.
night.